Hey YouTubers, it's Fly Rodder Sean of the Long Island Fly Rodders. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I want to give my fellow fly fishers something they can do in the off season or something they can just practice with. As you can see in this video, I've got a pretty small yard. You don't need a lot of distance really when you're practicing. A lot of guys go out and practice, they want to see how far they can throw their line. Everybody wants to get that 90 feet of line out, but you're not going to catch a trout at 90 feet. You might hook a striper at 90 feet. You might not get a good hook set at 90 feet. Better off to concentrate learning how to get those short casts to be accurate. There's a few things you can practice that'll help you with that. So I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of that today. First thing you want to do is just get your loop under control. I'm going to be crouching down so that the camera picks up the line. Normally I'd be standing to do these exercises, so just picture yourself standing if you're trying them at home. First thing is just side to side. Start off with just a little bit of line out and look at your loop. Try to get the loop so tight that it looks like the line is almost going to hit itself. So here we go. And then release a little more line. As you can see, I've got a bucket in the distance. I've got a very narrow window where I can cast this line between objects in my yard. And I've got a bucket in the distance, which will make it a little more fun. This is a good cast to get under a tree, an overhanging branch. Okay, try to get it in the bucket. Make a few casts, and then try to get it in your target. Okay? Ooh, that was a close one. Almost. Oh, come on. There we go, in the bucket. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is what's called drop and lift. Okay, so that's just vertical casting, but I see a lot of guys on the water, and look, we all like to look at our line. It can be hypnotizing, making those curves in the sky, watching planes overhead, whatever, but it's not really practical to do that all day long. You're going to wear your arm out. So it's a good idea to just learn how to lift up your line and cast it. That's all. You don't need more than one false cast most of the time, and you can get very good at practicing hitting your target exactly where you want it. You can also use that technique to scoot under a tree or an overhanging branch as well if you time it just right. So I'm going to be shooting for the bucket. Again, start off with a little bit of line and gradually let more line out. Okay, so I'm going to be crouching down here. All right, and here we go. Okay, so I'll use a little bit of line at first. Hopefully the camera's picking this up. Nice, easy casting. Again, look at your loop. Try to paint a straight line in the sky with your rod tip. All right, try to paint a straight line in the sky with your rod tip. Gradually release more line. Okay, so drop and lift. Up and down. Up and down. You can squeeze the, oh, got it in the bucket. Drop and lift, in the bucket again. Okay, you can move the bucket further away, right? Drop and lift. That was like 3 in a row. Okay, drop and lift. So in the drop and lift, you're not going to be going back at the normal arc. You're almost going to vertical and down. Vertical and down. This is something you can practice in a very short amount of space. Okay? All right, the next cast we're going to do is a good cast when you want to get a drag-free drift and the fish is right below you, okay? And there's a couple of different casts you can do, but this is one of the better ones. And what you want to do is you want to let out more line than you need to hit the target. And practice it by letting out more and more line. See how much ridiculously amount of line you can have out and still hit that target. And the idea is that you make your cast and then you drop your rod down and just let that line fall in a bunch of snaking curves to the ground. All right, so here we go. Okay, so I've got more line than I need for my target. I'm going to even let out more line, and I want to get that, right in the bucket. Okay, I want to get a ridiculous amount of line out. I'm going to let even more line out. If I straighten the line out all the way, I'm going to go about 8 feet past the target, even more, right? So you want to drop it real easy. Takes practice. Okay, this is also called a parachute cast. Almost got it in that time. Landed right in the bucket. Okay, so that's another good little cast you can practice. All right. Next cast I'm going to do is called a reach cast, and this is also a good cast for a fish that's directly downstream. Works great on a fish that's upstream, right? And the idea is that you throw your cast to the target, and then as your line is going out, you take your arm and you go off to the side, right or left, doesn't matter, okay? And you paint the line on the water at an angle to the target so that gives you a nice drag-free drift to your target, okay? And what you should do is practice, another thing you can do is practice using both your left hand and your right hand, okay, for all of these things. And I'll demonstrate with my left hand. Okay, I'm going to be a little closer. All right, so here's my drop and lift with my left hand, right? Practice with both hands, right? Practice with both hands so that if you're tight against the bush on the right side, and you could cast over your shoulder, but this is also another useful technique. You wouldn't be able to probably do a reach cast over your shoulder. Okay, that one went right in the target. That was with my left hand. All right, so here's the reach cast I'm going to demonstrate. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to bring my line up and paint it over. Bring my line up and paint it over. Okay, there's lots of great YouTube videos that you can see these in more detail. This is just to give you some ideas that you can practice in a very small space. My yard's probably like, 50 feet wide, even less with all the obstacles. So a reach cast, I'm going to go over and I'm going to paint the line. Right? Figure out just how much line you need to get to the target. Okay? Painting, reaching out. You can even go more because of my limited space. I'm not able to do a complete 90-degree angle, but you can. All right? Going over into the target. Okay? And this is a really good cast for getting a drag-free drift. And you can do it there. That went right in the pocket. And you can go both ways. Right and left. Right and left. Both hands. Right and left. Okay? So practice doing it with both hands. It's really a good cast. Okay? All right, let me look at my list of casts we're going through today. Okay, so the next one is to throw a mend in the line. Mending on the line, once your line and your fly are on the water, is pretty much a useless technique. It's going to throw it's going to drag your fly under, first of all, so it's not going to float as well. And you're not going to get drag-free drift. That really is only good if you throw past where a fish is, and then you mend your line to bring it above that fish and in line with it, and then you have a drag-free drift. It works then, but most of the time, you want to throw your mend before the line hits the water. And this is something you can practice, again, so you go up and you throw a little curve, up and throw a little curve, up and throw a little curve, right? You throw the curve by whipping your rod tip back and forth, like painting the shape of the curve in the air horizontally that you want to make, okay? Horizontally paint that curve. Horizontally paint that curve. All right? And I'm not doing a lot of false casting for this. This is really techniques that are about catching fish, not painting pretty pictures in the sky. Okay? Catching fish. And you can do it both ways. Right? You can do it both ways. Okay? All right. And then one more that I want to talk to you about is called a curve cast. So I'm going to move my bucket. Now you can move your bucket like way, way back. I'm moving it within view of the camera, hopefully, just to show you. But what you want to do is you want to make a current cast, you want to make your cast and then at the last second pull it back. Make your cast, last second pull it back. Make your cast, last second pull it back. Ooh, that went right in the bucket. Okay? So you make your cast and then pull it back at the last second. It'll cause the line to shoot in the other direction. And you can do that in both directions. Right? I can shoot my line in both directions. You can do it with both hands. Right? Perfect, went right in the bucket. Okay? And then finally, practice your roll cast. The roll cast is probably the cast that gets most abused by fly fishermen and most misunderstood by fly fishermen because they're trying to force, and you're going to end up killing your shoulder trying to force that line out. So let me put my target back. So think about flicking paint off of a paintbrush onto a wall, right? That's what you want to do with your roll cast. So see how much distance you need, get your line out. Okay, so I'm going to go back, let that line hook, and then flick. Go back, let that line hook, belly behind me, and then flick. Almost right in the target. And you'll really be surprised once you get that flick going, how much line you can actually shoot out. Okay? So I hope these techniques will prove helpful to you to practice at home. All right, one more technique that you can use. Let's say you're really tight to the bank, too tight to even make a roll cast. You can do what's called a steeple cast. Go straight up and down. Straight up and down. You can see I don't even need to go really very far behind me. Straight up and down. Straight up and down. Right, straight up and down. You're going to need even less room than a roll cast. Straight up and down. Watch your line, see where it's going. Straight up and down. Okay? Hope you found these tips useful. This is Fly Rodder Sean of the Long Island Fly Rodders signing off. Thanks for watching.